right, Coach, let's bring you in here. Sitting at 6-3, you get a little bit of a breather now going into, your 3 biggest games of the season, 3 rivalry-type games. Is this team primed for a November to remember?
Well, that's the plan. We really challenged the guys going into this Washington State game because it was a tricky game. You have the heartbreaking loss with Utah, traveling night game. You come back, we're a little beat up. You lose Chad Wheeler, you lose J.R. Tavai, 2 team leaders, and you think, we're just going to go on the road and play a 2-5 football team or whatever Washington State was. When you look at it, that Washington State team had played a lot of tight games. They lose 60-59 to Cal on a missed field goal. They lose 38-31 to Oregon. They had just a bunch of tight games. Sure enough, we get there. The weather's horrible. It's fog, sideways rain. It's 40 degrees. So there were a lot of things that I think we could have easily said, hey, we're not going to come ready to play today. But a real credit to the team, as you touched on, J-Day. They embraced all of it. Guys embraced opportunities to play. Toa Lobendon, first career start at left tackle. Just the defense coming out, getting a really cool stop right off the bat, and Bang Nelson with the big punt return, I just think set the stage for the whole night.
And that's what I want to tap into, because that offensive line, to me, you have some movement, 2 guys playing different spots. But Washington, a lot of people didn't realize this, Washington State brought a lot of pressures on everybody, not just us, but they brought a lot of pressure on everybody. And to me, just watching the game, it seemed like they handled it extremely well.
They did great. Really, 2 of the sacks are really on Cody. Yeah. With him holding the ball, then pulling the ball down and getting sacked. So I thought, all in all, against the strength of their defense, which was their defensive front, they've got some nice guys up front. Our guys played really well. Khalil Rogers making his first career start at left guard. 3 freshmen on the offensive line, a redshirt sophomore, and then Max Turk in the middle, just kind of owning it all. Which we had talked about. Do we move Max to left tackle? Do we move Toa to center? There's all these things we had to figure out. And I think all of it says, great job, Tim Drevno, our offensive line coach, of getting these guys better as the season's gone on. They've continued to improve, and then to make those adjustments last week. And for those guys to go play the way they did, I was very proud of them.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Toa here in segment 3. When you look at his future now, you've seen him play tackle. You're going to see him play tackle some more. Tackle, guard, what do you see at a Toa Lobendon?
Well, here's what I see. His strength, first of all, are his feet. When you watch Toa Lobendon play, he's got amazing feet. He's going to get bigger. That's just natural. He's still a puppy running around out there. He's 18 years old. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. He's going to understand the schemes better, but you can't replace feet. When you have great feet, that says, well, maybe tackle's where you're supposed to be. So we'll see what happens. We've got a long way to go. Chad obviously has his rehab that he's got to work through. He's going to have surgery next week, which is positive. We can start that process. But you never have enough tackles. I can tell you that. It's a lot easier to play guard than it is to play tackle, and the more we can develop, the better.
You do have a lot of guards, though. It seems like that offensive line is the one position that really the whole line is just primed to really grow in the next couple of years. You have so much competition now. Khalil, Damian Mama, Vianney, Jordan Simmons, once he gets healthy. You have a lot of potential candidates there.
Without a doubt. If you want to build a football team and build a program, it starts up front. And it starts with offensive and defensive linemen. You never have enough of them. You have to continue to recruit them. I feel great about where we're at from the offensive line standpoint with the players that we have on our current roster, with the commitments that we have of the guys coming in. Our future is really bright up front on the offensive line.
To the fans, Khalil Rogers sort of came out of nowhere because he hadn't played a lot before the year. But there was a point where he was the starter, right, at that guard spot. He plays inspired, and I just love the aggression. There's some pancake blocks at the end of the game. Talk about what you're seeing from him, because there was a point where he was the starter, like I said, and now he's sort of resurfacing. Yeah,
Khalil had a really good spring. Obviously got banged up with his knee, and then lost his job. And what real credit to Khalil is just it matters to him. The game matters. His teammates matter. How he plays matters. And he continued to work. He was patient in waiting his time to get healthy. He got his chance, and, man, he seized it. He snatched it, and he went and played. I love watching him pull. That was part a little bit what we were doing there at the end of the game. You got to embrace that stuff, and his teammates love it, and you get a chance on Sunday to show the film, and in the fourth quarter, Khalil pulling and pancaking guys. But that's what teams are about, and that's how you that's how you develop that kind of who you are in the locker room, and the DBs can joke with him about it. I don't want to see Khalil in 9-on-7, or I don't want to see Khalil in spring ball because I know he's going to be pulling around that corner trying to knock me down.
Well, the line set up a good day on the outside. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about Nelson and Juju here in a second, but I was wondering, it looked like he tried to get George Farmer started early. Was there an impetus to get him going? He's been out a little while.
Yeah, it was. I especially in those elements. When you've been out and you've been out with a hamstring, all of a sudden you get into those elements and that thing starts to get a little bit tight. Nah, I'm not sure. I just get him the ball. Let's just get him in the game, get him involved to where it just becomes normal to him. And to George's credit, he made his plays, and he looked really good doing it. He had a heck of the first down, the first play of the game on the corner route was nice. I love the hitch that he catches. He breaks 3 tackles, races down the sidelines. And I've said this all along. We are better when more people are involved. I love what Nelson did. I love what Juju did. But the more people that defenses have to defend when they play us, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah, and then talk about the satisfaction to get Buck Allen another 100-yard game. I said it during the broadcast. Did you reward guys like that because of it's not about Saturday. It's more about what he's done before Saturday that really sort of leads you up to sort of wanting to reward him in that
Without
situation.
a doubt, JJ. And I'm very respectful of records and different things, and you want to do it the right way. You want to do it in a classy manner. But Buck Allen, since the day I've arrived, has done nothing but bust his tail for this program. On the field, off the field, in school, in the community, in practice. I mean, if you guys watch us practice Tuesday, Wednesdays, this guy goes so hard, and he's been such a workhorse for us all year long. I just felt like he deserved it, Yeah. And in this game, the game plan was we were going to throw the ball. And that was, going in, we felt like that's where our advantage was. We wanted to throw it down the field. Buck wasn't getting as many carries as I'm sure he would have liked. He knows. And everybody knew we wanted to get that 100 yards for him. And what was great is guys are catching touchdown passes. Who's down there chest bumping him? One of the first guys, number 37. Yeah. It wasn't selfish of him, but to give him that and to give the young offensive lineman that's a real treat for those guys. I'm very happy for him.
And we were talking about Cody Kessler as we're starting to break down some of these numbers, and I don't know if is he appreciated enough? I mean, we're looking at a guy who, when this thing's all said and done, he could have as good a single season as any USC quarterback ever. You were there for most of the other seasons that are right there with what he's working on. Is he appreciated enough? What aren't people appreciating?
Well, just how efficient the guy is. I mean, it's funny because, and I've said this before, I coach that position probably harder than any other position, and that's what I grew up coaching. It's probably not the most ideal position to be the coach on the team. Clay Helton hears it from me, and Cody's hearing it from me. But the end result is he's playing really good football, and I nitpick him to death. I'm always looking for, the 4 plays he didn't do right. I'm all over him on the airplane flying home. But he's had a tremendous season so far. I think the thing is, when you look at Carson, Leinart, Rodney, I mean, all these great guys. I mean, what Sanchez was able to do, Barkley, there's a couple defining moments, too, in some of these big games. Cody's going to have his chances here. We've got 3 weeks left in this season. Obviously, UCLA and Notre Dame at the end of this thing. He's going to have his chance to have a couple defining moments, and the key is just to keep playing the way he's playing, and he'll get them. He doesn't need to try to create those defining moments. They'll just happen for him when he just continues to execute.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little defense with the coach. You're listening to Trojans Live on the Beast. We're back here with the head coach, Steve Sarkisian, and I'm curious, Coach. We all saw Connor Halliday go down. That was really terribly unfortunate. A senior quarterback leading the nation in passing by a mile. What happens when that happens, though, on the sideline? How much does it change? How much you all of a sudden, changing the game plan, or do you just stick with it and roll with it? I mean, knowing not that much about their backup, who I think had, a handful of throws the whole season.
The thing is, I think someone have to know your opponent. And when you're playing a Mike Leach team, it's not going to change. They're going to put 4 wide receivers on the field, and they're going to throw the ball. And, I think the one thing we were trying to be aware of was you bring in a new quarterback. He tried to break the new kid in with some quick screens, some hitches, some different things. And I thought our DB's ability to rally up and make tackles in the open field was really evident, especially when Falk first got in the ball game.
Talk about the defense, because the secondary in particular, because this was a challenging, receiving corps. Washington State, I mean, they had tall guys, they had fast guys, the rest of it. but your guys tackled well, as you mentioned, but also covered well. Are we seeing this group really start to evolve? I mean, I can remember going back to week 1, we're talking about protecting them and how we're going to get extra guys to help them in coverage, and now we're putting on islands.
Yeah, we are, and I think it's all part of the process of growing up. It's easy to point out Adoree, and we all see him continue to grow at the corner spot. I really believe Kevon Seymour has played his best football the last couple weeks. He's a lot more confident making plays on the ball, not panicking, getting his hands on guys. I thought Leon McQuaid. No, we're not doing your numbers as far as going in the box, one defender in the box. We're doing it counting on front blockers. Okay, I feel good about that. Good. I don't think it's up this channel. Not since that's now. Sure, nothing wrong. So look, say you feel behind the station. How do you say I saw you say obviously back all those guys every day. The rest of you walking good. How long ago? We're in the versatile group. He's got the backer and now he's the ability. Charles gets some quick out some grounds and some. When knows when you can see out, their offense they got one that is very similar to Washington. They're going to throw all the field. So correct, the whole run back was all correct running. So depending on how Dallas does get these guys roll, I mean, the young man is pretty offensively and going to get his own issues. So we're going to need to have that field track down mobile quarterbacks. Don't give up those scramble yards, which is how they really try to make their plays.
You've given the guys the week off at least until Saturday. You expect some recharge batteries as we talk about this November to remember and this final push. I mean, does this bye come at a good time for that?
I think it comes at a great time for us. We were a little beat up, and we knew it going to Washington State. And I just asked the guy, I said, give me one more game. Give me one more game of maximum effort. Hold nothing back. I'll take care of you once we get through this ball game. And they sure did that. But we needed to get healthy. We needed to recharge our batteries. We needed to get focused on the classroom. And we're in the midst of our semester and midterms and papers and all that stuff. There's a lot going on in these guys' lives. And so to be able to step away for a little bit, come back Saturday, which is really our Monday of a game week and ready to go, I expect nothing but these guys coming out on the field, fired up, ready to go, having a great week of practice.
Joe Stark, you told one good story at Monday Morning Quarterback about the kids having the week off, but one guy was there bright and early still on Monday morning.
Really impressive. And a lot of our guys have been working. I don't want to discount any of these guys, but what I thought was interesting, the game ends. Nelson Aguilar has 8 catches, 220 yards, a touchdown, a 65-yard punt return for a touchdown. I don't know if anybody practices harder. No offense, guys. How Nelson, just works every day in practice. So I get to the office. I'm doing some work, and lucky for me, the new John McKay Center, the head coach's office has a balcony and allows you to look out over Howard Jones practice field. And I see a guy. Most guys when they go out, they got a couple managers, this and that. I see a guy. He's in the